Well, first of all, thank you, Peter, for giving us your time today, and congratulations on your recently elected role as Conservative MP for Mid Leicestershire. In your maiden speech, you made the following remarks about opportunities for all. I'll just quote from what you said. Life chances, owning your own home, getting a career and having a family should not be the exclusive preserve of the wealthy, but should be opportunities available to all. And they're clearly sentiments which are very much at the heart of City and Guild's purpose as well, and we do a lot to try and support those sentiments. So, how would you like to work with members from across the House to drive reform and investment in vital areas like skills, which will provide greater opportunities for all?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the key issues that I want to be campaigning on as a new Member of Parliament. You know, I come from a single-parent family where I was the first in my family to go to university. So getting a career, really for me, was really important to establishing myself and being able to provide for my own family and for the greater community. So I'm really passionate that it doesn't matter where you come from, which walk of life you come from, you have those opportunities. And I think that apprenticeships is a great way of doing that. I think particularly in today's economy where we lack a lot of skills that we need. So we definitely lack skills in terms of electricians, plumbers, apprenticeships for really hands-on piece of skills and workmanship. That can really help people who perhaps don't have a university directed academic background, but really want to use those skills to better themselves and their families.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, and what you touched on there, I guess, is that at the heart of all of that is education and training in terms of that springboard to opportunity. But as you say, for those that maybe aren't able to get to university to pursue that route, there are other routes available. Yes. And increasingly apprenticeships have that credibility and provides that opportunity for people to progress into what can be very profitable careers and things. So the other area, and then I just wanted to touch on, was in terms of your link with the APPG for apprenticeships, and it aims to create sort of positive, constructive platform that builds strong relationship with government and collaborates with them in developing policies around apprenticeships, etc. So one of the key objectives is raising awareness amongst parliamentarians and policymakers of the vital role apprenticeships play in our economy, which you've already touched on, in areas like trades, etc. So in your opinion, what action should parliamentarians and policymakers be taking to shine more of a spotlight on the importance of apprenticeships?
Yeah, first of all, it's really important that apprenticeships and promotion apprenticeships is a cross-party issue. It goes beyond party politics. We all want our country to succeed. We all want us to have the skills, the training for our younger people, and that goes beyond party politics. So I think the APPG is really good for bringing different parliamentarians of different parties together to promote that. I think it can also be good because we can give examples, real-life examples in our own constituencies of maybe the skills that we're short of, or success stories where particular groups of people have gone through the apprenticeship route, gone on to get a career, gone on to get a skill, and it's really helped the local economy. So I think bringing those real-life examples from our own constituencies. I represent a quite rural constituency. There are Labour MPs that are involved that represent more urban city constituencies. But beneath that are the same challenges around skills, ensuring that we have the skills for the future and that our younger people particularly are able to get access to those training opportunities.
Yeah, and I mean, just picking up on your observation there about younger people as well, do you think more could be being done in schools to raise the profile of apprenticeships?
Absolutely. So take my own example. If I go back 25, 30 years when I was going through my A-levels, I was looking, what do I want to do? Now, I knew that I wanted to get a career in law or finance. That was where I knew that was my strength. The only real kind of pathway that was presented to me was university. So you go to university, you get a degree, you then find a training contract and you go down that route. Well, actually, that's not quite right because there are other options available to someone in accountancy. I was fortunate, I did a degree, then went on to do a training contract with a large accounting firm. However, there are just as valid and actually in some respects better routes for younger people to go through. On-the-job training, straight from college, on-the-job training, getting those skills, working practically there and then. So I think more needs to be done to promote those routes that aren't just the university-channeled direction.
Yeah, no, fantastic. So, and what impact would you like the APPG to have over the next few years to help give that next generation the opportunity to gain those new skills? If there was kind of a legacy, if you like, of the APG, what things should change?
I think there's a cultural change, I think, as I mentioned earlier, around, if we go back 20 years or so, government was really pushing people. They wanted to have 50% of school leavers to go to university. I think, I get why they would have those kind of targets, but actually, perhaps that's not the right metric, because whilst university gives you a good qualification in a particular field, does it actually give you the practical, real-life experience of applying those skills? So I think the legacy would be that we see government and business, I think business is already moving that way, have that cultural shift towards actually apprenticeships are really, really, really helpful and useful, and they're a far more practical way of ensuring that people joining the organisation have the skills, the practical skills to apply. So I would like to see that cultural shift over the next 5 years.
Yeah, so if there was a legacy, it would be that actually, although university and higher education is still a valid route, people would talk about apprenticeships in the same breath and say, actually, that is equally as valid a route in terms of, and promotion. And where do you think the government should focus its attention, therefore, to ensure investment in skills leads to long-term economic resilience, job creation, greater access for more people?
So more needs to be done in terms of supporting businesses to enable them to support apprentices. So for example, we had the apprenticeship levy. I know there's talk of reforming that to making it more agile and flexible in terms of its application. I think reforming that space is needed to ensure that businesses have the incentive to bring on apprenticeships, that they see the benefit of doing so. They have the support to support people coming in to train for those jobs. So those are the kind of things I'd like to see change and reform and develop, because ultimately, if a training route's successful, the business gets the skills it needs to grow for the future, and then the individual gets a qualification, and as I said in my opening statement, that gives them the opportunity to then have a career, have a family, a good source of income, and build for their own success.
No, fantastic. And I think you so rightly make the point that apprenticeship essentially is a job, and therefore the more that employers and industry can step forward and provide those opportunities, then education and training can meet that demand and ensure that it happens. How would you like to see skills development evolve over the next 5 years to ensure the UK remains competitive on a global scale as well? Where do you think the focus ought to lie?
That's really important. I think, technological changes, we're having massive technological changes across, the internet, artificial intelligence, all those things where actually we're not quite there in terms of ensuring that our workforces have got those skills necessary to compete in the global arena. So I think as technology continues to progress, we need to make sure that apprenticeships, universities, all those routes into upskilling people are also modernising. Often the case, Parliament's often 5-10 years behind the curve on technology. So I think we as parliamentarians and as the APPG need to be looking on the horizon, what's coming up, what changes are happening in the skills for the future, ensuring that businesses and other training bodies are prepared for that.
Yeah, no, and I think it's a really valid point as well about ensuring not only that parliamentarians are aware of that kind of future and future perspectives, but equally the education and training system is keeping pace with that. Because with things like technology that moves so quickly, it can often be difficult there for education and training to keep pace with that. But I think that's clearly one of the points that you want to try and flag through the APG. So that's great. To hear all the things you're saying about apprenticeships, social mobility, access for all, are clearly going to be the things that are going to drive prosperity for the country and for regions and things. We've just recently produced our productivity report, which starts to try and create that and highlight that link between skills and productivity. And do you see in your sort of constituency that that's going to be a key way of ensuring regeneration of prosperity, etc. for people and the place as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely, because, I have quite a rural constituency. It's quite disparate. There are 24 villages, so there are quite different needs across them all. But beneath that are the basic core skills that we need. Some of the core skills, everyone needs electrician, everyone needs plumbers, everyone needs those things that we need to keep our own homes running. All of those things that actually, in the last 10, 20 years, I think have kind of fallen away in terms of investment in those skills. So we really need to make sure that we're encouraging younger people, or indeed older people, to retrain, to get into those skills, to have that pathway to ensuring that my constituents can get the services they need. So it's really important that we continue to invest in that.
And I guess, you touched on some very important trade disciplines there, and you mentioned technology before as being an area that clearly is a focus for skills. I guess the other area that often gets referred to is green skills and net zero, and the trades have an important part to play there, I would guess, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the green agenda is clearly high up government's priority. I think that it can complement the skills agenda, because we all want to do as little harm to the environment as possible. Clearly we want to look after our environment, so I think working hand in hand with the skills agenda, it would certainly complement the stuff that you're doing.
Provide those common solutions for a whole range of things that we need to do. Thank you. Look, we've covered a variety of subjects there. I'd like to finish, if I can, by sort of just identifying it's exciting to see we've got the leadership contest going on just at the moment. And what do you make of the candidates? How should they look to hold the government to account over Parliament in terms of what they should be saying to your party in terms of winning that leadership?
Yeah, so I'm backing Robert Jenrick. I think Robert's got the all-round experience and skills and determination to bring the party together and to hopefully win the next general election. I believe that Robert's actually looking to the future. Robert's a very big supporter of Next Gen Tories, which is a group set up to essentially look at the challenges facing younger people. Owning your own home, which I mentioned earlier, having a skill, ensuring that they have a stake in society, and Robert really buys into that. So that's why I'm backing Robert, and I hope that he's successful, because we can take those policy agendas forward.
Now, fingers crossed. I think everything that you've touched on there in terms of what he stands for, the country is sorely in need of. And so fingers crossed that becomes a reality for you. Thank you so much for your time today as well.
Thank you.